Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Reg Talks with Raj, an insider view of regulatory. Today I'm having the guest as Pratik Shingru, a clinical trial manager whom I met at a conference, and today he was the speaker of our show. And before going deep into the show, let me introduce about Pratik. So Pratik completed his MBBS from Topiwala National Medical College from Central Mumbai. Later on, started his masters in public health, epidemiology, and biostatistics from Boston University. Worked as graduate research assistant at BU School of Medicine, then started in industry as clinical data operations manager, helping medical devices team in improving the diagnostic capabilities of physicians with the help of machine learning teams. Currently, serving as clinical trial research manager by managing execution, management of IRB-approved study protocols, and managing subject recruitment. As a freelancer, Pratik is working with multiple international journals as a research reviewer. And this is a concise, compiled data about Pratik. There is a lot more to introduce about him. So, in this talk show, we are going to discuss about his journey at Boston University and later on his journey as clinical trial manager. So, how he's going through and what are the hurdles he faced during these 4 to 5 years of span in the United States. So, over to you, Pratik.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. Great intro, Raja. And I'm very happy to be on your show, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, actually, I met Raja at one of the conferences here in Boston, and was very impressed with his passion and his channel. So wanted to contribute as much as I can. So yeah, this is a great opportunity. So I think Raja's first question was about my life at BU,
Yes.
why I chose BU, and how I came to BU. Actually, it's a long story. I did my MBBS in Mumbai, Topiwala National Medical College, Nair Hospital.
Mhm.
And after that, I was actually planning for going to residency, and I was working as a medical officer in rural parts of Maharashtra. And the journey was going to be very different before my decision of making my life to be a researcher. But things happened, and I got very interested into clinical research, especially working with the sickle cell disease population back in India. I was working in a very endemic area, and that's how I got my passion. There were many professors in BU who were working in clinical research, and I was very interested in how it works, and what should I do to get in here. Got into BU through normal pathways, GRE and stuff. And the life at BU was very good. BU actually taught me a lot about industry, clinical research. Whatever I am after my med school is because of BU. Um, I would say BU started my career starting right from like starting in medical writing. Like I didn't even know how the writing is done in industry. I didn't even know how clinical research happens. um, I was very strong from the medical side, but from the clinical side and epidemiology and biostatistics, the things were pretty different. So I would say the life was good. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, in fact, BU is my dream university, which I plan to enter, but unfortunately, I got a rejection from Boston University. So, at a single common point, we got connected in that conference. Actually, heading to Boston was primary target, and
Yeah.
in fact, that is for me as a primary target. And in fact, you got connected at that point, like you
Yeah.
wanted to start your career at Boston, like a
Yeah.
place where multiple pharmaceutical and biotech companies exist,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that was great, actually. And moving on to the next question, as you said, like you have completed your undergrad in MBBS, and instead of moving into a traditional setting, like getting into regular practice as a physician and pursuing your post graduation and getting into a specialization, so what motivated you to break that bond and move into a different setting? Like moving abroad is one of the biggest challenge. So already you have an MBBS degree over there where you can earn tons of money, I say. But you broke that bond and moved to abroad and started your career at here. So what motivated you to do that?
Yeah. So one of the points I felt, I was very much engaged in my clinical practice back in India, and the opportunities I felt weren't enough, at least in the rural areas, for clinical
Mhm.
research. Um, I was not inclined to go to clinical research because I didn't know a lot about clinical research, medical affairs, regulatory, and all the industry branches back in India.
Mhm.
And the normal path which many people take is either do like residency, like whatever the
Yes.
normal branches are where IMGs get into, like pediatrics, internal medicine, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then the specialization, right? Most of the IMGs who come from all the good schools in Mumbai usually take this path, and I was walking on the same path until
Mhm.
I realized, okay, well, I really like this? Do I want to treat similar kind of patients
Okay.
all the way in my life? Will I be like liking this life like 10 years from now? And at
Mhm.
that point, I thought maybe innovation is my thing.
Okay.
I want change. I want something new.
Mhm.
And while doing my MBBS, I never thought about this. Like, unfortunately, the system in India doesn't work in favor of innovation a lot. At least I
Yes.
feel that way. So I never had that kind of mindset growing up back in India. But when I saw, my mentors doing good here, uh,
Mhm.
actually they were innovating stuff. Clinical research was happening at a very high pace. There was so many industries like biotech, pharma. There were branches like medical affairs and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I was very fascinated, and I just wanted to know a little bit more about it. Um, and I was completely unaware about branches like health tech and stuff, which were like pretty new. AI was just kind of
Yes.
coming at that point. So I was very interested in knowing more, and MPH kind of gave me a segue to enter the market and actually see what is out there in the industry and what I can do. Um, yeah.
This is back in like 2017 or 2019.
2018. So I
20.
I graduated in 2016. Yeah, and
Mhm.
then I was practicing clinical medicine back in India.
Mhm.
And then I admitted to BU in 2018 September.
Okay.
That was the time when AI was just like starting up in all the big institutes like MIT and Howard.
Okay.
And I was talking to people there. So, but the first internship I landed was a health tech startup from MIT. And that startup was trying to use natural language processing and some visual technologies to aid in people who are visually disabled. Um, so that was my first experience, and I really liked it, and that was the point when I decided, oh, I want to explore health tech a little bit more. That was at the time when I was not even sure about what roles are there in industry, what kind of things IMGs can do in industry. And I feel like that is one of also not so explored areas for IMGs. When we come here, most of the people go for epidemiology, biostatistics, and then they end up in clinical research, or as an epidemiologist or a biostatistician or something like that.
Mhm.
um, but that internship gave me segue to learn more about industry. Uh,
Mhm.
and fortunately, my mentor was really good, and he actually provided me with a lot of training materials, mentorship, which also
Mhm.
helped me grow later in the future. After that, my first job, I started as a clinical project coordinator with a company called Iterative Health. I was working for them for like 3 years.
Mhm.
And that company pretty much changed my life. So that was my first full-time job. And my manager was basically my first exposure to industry. I'm happy she took a chance on me, and I think I really owe a lot to her. And from that point onward, I never stopped. I never looked back. That was the point when I started learning. Started as a coordinator, and it was a startup, so there was a lot to learn. So basically, got my hands into everything which I could learn, and started learning pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how I feel I ended in health tech space, clinical research space,
Mhm.
um, and I'm enjoying it right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Actually, Boston is a place where, like, if you said in at one place, you see next to you is like Harvard University, and one on the other side is MIT
Yeah.
and Northeastern BU. There are like top 50 schools across the United States. So you can innovate something and contribute for the rest of the world from here itself, from Boston. So
Yeah.
it's a great place to start our startups, or else, you know. whatever.
100% agree. And I
Yes.
feel having the companions, like people from all around the universities, and
Mhm.
that just cultivates that innovative mindset.
Yes.
And that gives Boston a edge, where you can get a lot of knowledge. You can meet a lot of people who are actually in the industry.
Mhm.
So I 100% agree with you, Raja, that yes, it is Boston is the city where, things
With
happen.
diverse culture, diverse people,
Oh yeah,
innovative people, in fact.
yeah, no, 100% agree with you.
Yes. And uh, let's see, like from an international student perspective, let me take me as an example.
Yeah,
Sitting back in India in year of 2021, 2022, just dreaming of getting into a particular place, Boston.
right.
So basically, I am from a farmer school. So I dream about getting into like only limited major courses when we see our mindset back in India.
Yeah,
So we'll be there only like either get into regulatory affairs or clinical research or else health informatics. These were the booming courses back in India.
mhm,
When you go for some mentors or some consulting groups, they often suggest these kind of courses to every pharma school student. So
right.
in fact, if you go for a med school student, they even suggest like epidemiology, biostatistics are the 2 to 3 major courses.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you think where we are failing actually? So for one particular course there will be like hundreds of thousands of students migrating from particular part of the world. So do you think it's a boom or like it's going to be a failure thing? Definitely everyone going to be have a career over there.
Yeah.
Everyone gonna get a good job and earn some good money. But do you think like to be successful in career, so if we choose different things, so when I'm a family student, so if I go into medical writing or medical affairs, there will be a big career for me. So what do you think on this? Do we need to change in
Yeah.
that aspect about thinking majors?
That's a really good question, Raja. What I felt is when I came from India, I didn't have much knowledge
Mm-hmm.
about what could be done in United States as a IMG. What are the opportunities for me, and
Okay.
what educational programs or courses would make me, I wouldn't say make me, but would enable me to approach for those jobs, and what is needed basically to get into all these positions, and then what the job responsibilities are, right? So I feel I wouldn't say failing. I would say, I mean, I would agree with you 100% that thousands of people migrate here doing MPH in epidemiology and biostatistics, and we are seeing it all over the schools.
Mhm. Yes.
Even many of my friends migrated doing MPH after IMG.
Mhm.
Many people just want to keep MPH as a backup when they want to go to residency, or they just need like some time to prepare.
Yes.
Get in touch with like professors or professors of medicine, or stuff like that, or do some research just to build their profile. That is also fine. I mean, like, that is also one of the ways people get into residencies, and epidemio and biostats helps in that. Coming back to your question from medical writing, medical affairs, quality management, clinical data management, biostatistics, epidemiologist,
Yes.
quality specialist, regulatory specialist, these are all the branches where actually IMGs can thrive in
Mhm.
United States. At least I feel the way. um, there are many things like medical information which are very unexplored. Medical affairs is pretty much unexplored by IMGs right now.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say it's only because they don't want to go. Those fields are not even easy to crack. The competition from native speakers is very high.
Mhm.
All those things are also there. But speaking on, what can be done as an IMG,
Okay.
or as a healthcare person coming from India, there are many branches.
Mhm.
And I think there is a lack of information flowing out of United States about all these branches.
Yes.
Luckily, I had one of my senior from my med school, a very nice person,
Mhm.
currently working with a very big pharma company. Guided me pretty well in like how I can grow my career in clinical research, how I can grow my career towards medical affairs,
Mhm.
or just from the perspective of what I like, what could be done, right?
Okay.
When I came, like, I did my epidemiology biostatistics, as you correctly mentioned. I
Mhm.
was I was one of the people from all the herds coming here.
Okay.
But I think there are many branches right now. I feel like medical information is very unexplored.
Mm-hmm.
Biomedical science is a very good branch. People are doing healthcare AI.
Okay.
There are many opportunities in medical annotations. Like there are many healthcare algorithms, diagnostic algorithms. There are
Mm-hmm.
many AI models people are building around those.
Yes.
And all those people need biomedical scientists, right? They need training people. So during my first few years of my journey, I was teaching many people about just medicine, right? Like,
Yes.
how do you see ulcers? How do you visualize endoscopy, basically, right? And
Mm-hmm.
all these things you learn. Obviously, you learn all these things while you do your medicine, but the approach how industry takes when they utilize it in a business sense is completely different than
Okay.
what we understand back there in India.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that is one of the things which I won't say missing, but there is not enough information about how medical can be translated into business. And while translating into that business, many of these roles arise, right?
Okay.
As you correctly mentioned, like medical writing, right? All these PharmDs, MDs,
Mm-hmm.
DMDs, all these people coming from India or like from any other country, basically,
Mm-hmm.
all the healthcare people coming from outside of United States have a really good background in medical writing. They don't even know. Like I myself never even
Yes.
knew that what I was doing at that point is called like medical writing as a career. Like people can do it for a living. Like I was publishing back in India. I was writing research papers. There were like methodologies. I was utilizing all that stuff. I was creating like tables, listings, and figures while I was in my school, like during biostatistics days. But I just didn't know like this is a branch in pharma, or this is a
And there
branch.
is a career exist over there too. In fact, the same condition lies with me.
Exactly. So that was like very enlightening. Oh, this can be a career, right? And the
Yes.
same way, like I was creating a lot of, because I come from medicine and I also understand stats.
Mm-hmm.
It's like genuinely you want to improve something, and
Mm-hmm.
then you are just teaching people like, hey, this can be done. Hey, this can be done. What do you think about that? And then I realized that, oh, this might be a career, right? You can actually go to people in industry. They're called as key opinion leaders. You
Yes.
can understand the knowledge from them, come back to your company, you can give it back to the company, and then you can think about what can be changed in future so the
Mm-hmm.
medicine is flowing in the right direction, or maybe the patients are going to get benefited in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like big branch of medical affairs, right? Medical science liaison, pretty much, like that is their job responsibility, one of the job responsibilities. And this was kind of enlightening for me at that point, that, oh, this can be done. I'm actually, doing it, but I just don't know it. It is like a branch there in industry.
Yes.
Another example I would like to give you is like clinical statistician. Like, like clinical statisticians are very good opportunities. There are like clinical data management people and then
Mm-hmm.
analysts.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different branches. But when I was coming out of the school, I didn't know,
Okay.
I just knew, like you can start as clinical research coordinator, you can start as clinical trial person, you might be able to help someone in running their research. Those are also good branches. I'm not saying those are not bad, but those are
Yes.
like highly explored branches where people usually find their first job, or like try to enter the market. And that is a good thing, like you have to start at some point so that you
Yes.
can experience and then you can grow up the ladder. But I feel at that point, a lot of knowledge was missing. How
Mm-hmm.
pharma works, how
Yes.
clinical research works in industry, or
Hmm.
how biotech works. Um,
Yes.
Health tech was completely new, but then medical annotation was pretty unexplored, right?
Yes.
All these medical AI conversion models using CNN, RNN,
Mm-hmm.
the data we need to feed them was completely unexplored. Right now,
Yes.
that is data operations is in itself a branch.
There is a branch. Yes.
Yeah, and people actually utilize data for
Mm-hmm.
turning for teaching models, building their training data, and then using quality data to check against it. That they call it validation, right?
Okay.
So that is healthcare AI is also like a completely different realm, which a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are not aware about back in India.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like there is a lack of information somewhere where, like people like you and me sitting in the United States can come into picture and give, like
A
all
brief
this
idea about, yes,
brief idea about what can be done. Hey, you're not like limited to Epibio, right? There are
exactly.
other things you could do, and then there are other ways you can grow in life too. Yeah,
Yes, you can even explore many paths. R&D is one thing where you need to show your potential,
oh yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And
100%.
as you mentioned, like AI. So since last 4 to 5 years, even I see like it's one of the chanting word in the industry,
Yeah,
and in fact, in the healthcare also, it's a big boom right now. So
right.
AI. So how do you see for the next 2 decades this artificial intelligence in healthcare? So machine learning tools, large language modules. So whatever, how you see this artificial intelligence in healthcare for the next 2 decades?
Yeah. Um, just to be very cautious, I don't understand large language models a lot. I don't
Okay.
come from AI background, but I have worked with AI scientists a lot. But I
Mhm.
can definitely speak on your healthcare diagnostics question,
Okay.
how AI can play a role. So
Mhm.
I feel AI can be one of the better aids for many of the diagnostic heavy branches like diagnostic radio, gastroenterology, the people who need to make decisions,
Okay.
as much as possible unbiased decisions. I feel their AI can be a good approach to go.
Okay.
Just to give you an example, one of the first models I was working on, I was creating a real world evidence for those models, and what we were trying to do is we were trying to look for polyps in a colonoscopy, right?
Okay.
That's pretty much a thing which obviously no doctor wants to count polyps, like it's not
Yes.
something which they will like to spend their mind on while they are looking for, like very difficult lesions, right? Like ulcers,
Mhm.
erosions, there are different types of lesions which can be very serious and harmful. And you don't want to do the math while
My
doing all of
calculator.
this,
Yeah.
like how many polyps did I saw? Where was the polyp? If those things can be simplified with the help of AI,
Okay.
that is going to be very beneficial for them. They're going to save a lot of time. They're going to save a lot of money. And another point is simplifying the severity and making it as little bias as possible, I would say. There are many severity scales in every part of medicine, right? Mayo scores. There are different radiological scales.
Hmm.
Um, and when a human is trying to represent this, I'm not saying this is like intentionally, but
Hmm.
obviously as a human bias, there is going to be some bias.
Okay.
Um, and if there is a bias in some cases, your therapeutic management can actually change based on the grade you give. So somebody might say, "Oh, it's just grade one kind of ulcer,"
Hmm.
but you might feel, "No, it's grade two." But the therapeutic management for the person will change drastically if it's grade one or grade two. I mean,
Great. Yes.
there are things people are trying to, use moderators, take three readings instead of one. All that is good.
Hmm.
But I feel in that case, AI can, generate results with much less bias as compared to humans, at least according to me.
Okay.
Um, so that is one of the great areas. Another area is just looking at the films and making sure that they are readable, right? No
Hmm.
doctor wants to read cases which are not even readable. AI can be like very good tool in that case. Like instead
Okay.
of a doctor going through 200 films and out of those maybe like 50 are unreadable, you don't want to spend time on that, right? You can
Yes.
just get help from AI, which will say like, hey, there are only 150 readable frames, just go through them. And like I can also point you to where I see something is different, right? So
Okay.
suppose there is normal chest X-ray. If you're teaching somebody like normal chest X-ray, the machine is going to learn it quickly, right? If
Hmm.
you can teach machine what a normal chest X-ray is, machine will show you like what is abnormal in that X-ray if it finds something. So that
Yes.
makes your job easier. Instead of you spending like, I don't know, 30 minutes on X-ray, you're
Hmm.
going to spend like 5 minutes, and then that increases your efficacy. So I feel doctor's brain will be used for things which matter the most
Hmm.
instead of you know mm, I would say not so good things which doctors want to do right, at that point. um, but yeah,
So
those are, I feel like, AI in next 2 decades. that is where I see AI coming a lot. I can't speak a lot from therapeutic and robotic surgical side because
Mhm.
a lot is going on there also, and that's kind of like a topic for another day. But at least speaking from a diagnostic perspective, I do see AI coming in a lot of ways in next 2 decades. And as most of the people are saying, healthcare AI is gonna be the future.